love growing food plants. I grow all the basics, things like zucchini, leeks, chives and sweet potato. But I also like growing things that are slightly different, like this thing, Amorphophallus paeoniifolius, the elephant's foot yam. Now this occurs in the wild from India right the way through Papua New Guinea into northern Australia. In fact, Indigenous Australians have been growing this as a starch staple for thousands of years before European settlement. What does it taste like? Well, it tastes like yam. And if you haven't tried yam, that tastes like sweet potato, minus the sweetness. The elephant's foot yam has a patterned stalk. This is a single stem. It's one leaf, and that single leaf is produced from the soil during spring. Now, if the plant is happy, it'll produce offshoots, and you can propagate from those. When the plant is mature, it will produce a flower, again in spring, and it sprouts directly from the soil. Now, when they're ready to harvest, this leaf collapses, generally in autumn, and that is the time to dig up the yam and eat it. A very close relative of the elephant yam is the titanarum. This is a specimen that recently flowered at the Melbourne Botanic Gardens. It has a massive flower, the largest single compound flower on Earth. In its native Sumatra, it is endangered. So when I was working at the Sydney Botanic Gardens, we wanted to find a way to propagate and multiply the titanarum. We found a technique called leaf wedge cuttings works for all of the Amorphophallus genus. Take a segment of the leaf during spring and summer. Now I've got two cuttings there, two strong veins, and this is the place where I'm going to cut the base of each cutting. I'm just going to remove some of the excess leaves at the top here because that will reduce water stress while the roots are developing on the cutting. Just going to put a little bit of rooting hormone on it. And now I just need some ordinary potting mix. I'll just push that in, firm it in place. Now I'm going to give them a good drink. And I'm going to cover them with this bottle just to keep the humidity in during the rooting process. Now these won't need watering again, but the one thing I will do is I'm going to unscrew this top so it can breathe. Now these cuttings are going to root in a matter of days. In a month, they can go into individual pots. If I plant them out in spring, in the space of 2 years, they will produce elephant's foot yams the size of dinner plates.